Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a topic today that's pretty important, I'd say, in our digital world. The difference between spoofing and phishing.
Yeah, it's something a lot of folks get confused about.
And to help us unpack it all, we're turning to this article from Checkpoint Software. It lays things out really well.
It does, and it's fascinating stuff. When we talk about these attacks, we're not talking about someone hacking into a system with brute force.
Right.
It's all about social engineering. They target people, not systems.
Okay, so let's start with phishing. I think most of us have gotten those suspicious emails, but can you define phishing for us? Like in simple terms.
Sure. Phishing is basically a trick, a con game, where someone tries to fool you into doing something you wouldn't normally do. Like clicking on a bad link, opening a file that has malware, or giving away your passwords, credit card info, things like that.
So like when you get that email, it looks like it's from your bank.
Exactly. Or maybe it looks like it's from a friend sharing a link.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a trap to get your info.
And they always have those subject lines designed to freak you out.
Oh, absolutely. Urgent action required.
Yeah.
Your account has been compromised.
Yeah. So they prey on our anxieties.
They do. They want you to panic so you don't think straight.
That's so sneaky.
Yeah.
So beyond those verify your account emails, what other kinds of phishing are out there?
Well, there's spear phishing. It's more targeted.
Okay.
Instead of a general email blast, it's personalized.
Oh, I see. So they might use your name, your company.
Yeah. To make it seem even more legitimate. Like imagine you work at a tech company, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might get an email that looks like it's from a colleague. They ask you to look at a document on your shared server.
Oh, sneaky.
But the link, it takes you to a bad site, not the real server.
And you'd probably click it because it seems like it's from someone you know and trust.
Exactly. That's how they get you.
And what about those attacks that target, like, big-time executives?
You're talking about whaling.
Yeah, whaling, right. This
Yeah.
sounds intense.
It is. It's basically spear phishing, but aimed at the top dogs. CEOs, CFOs, people with access to really sensitive data.
So the stakes are even higher.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
way higher. They'll spend months researching these people.
Wow, so it's like digital corporate espionage.
You could say that. Now, there are a couple more variations to watch out for. There's vishing, which is phishing, but over the phone.
Over the phone.
They might pretend to be tech support or even a government agency.
Oh, we've heard of those.
Yeah, they can be really convincing, using all sorts of technical terms and making threats if you don't do what they say. Then there's smishing, which uses text messages. We tend to let our guard down with texts.
Sure.
And it's easier to click a bad link without thinking twice.
So phishing is all about deception, trying to trick you.
It is, and it comes in many forms, many disguises.
Okay, so now let's talk about spoofing. What's the big idea with spoofing?
Spoofing is about making something look like something it's not. It's a mask, essentially, hiding the attacker's true intentions. And just like phishing, there are lots of different ways to do it.
So if phishing is the act, spoofing is the costume.
You got it. Think of email spoofing. You get an email, it looks like it's from your bank,
Yeah.
but the sender's address, if you look closely, it's off.
Oh, like misspellings or a weird domain name?
Exactly. Most people only see the display name, not the actual address.
That's sneaky. So email spoofing tricks the eye then.
It does. Now, there's also DNS spoofing, which is a bit more technical.
What's DNS spoofing? Yeah.
Think of DNS as the internet's phone book.
Okay.
Every website has an IP address, like a street address. DNS helps your computer find the right website. With DNS spoofing, attackers mess with those records. They can send you to a fake site.
A fake website.
Yep, one that looks exactly like the real one. So you think you're on your bank's website, but you're not.
Oh, wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
And they can make those fake websites look really convincing, huh?
Oh, yeah, they can. Same logos, same everything. You'd never know.
So email spoofing, DNS spoofing. What other kinds of spoofing are out there?
Well, there's IP spoofing. It's like sending a letter with a fake return address. They hide their real location. Then you have GPS spoofing, where they mess with location data.
So like your phone thinks it's somewhere it's not?
Yep. It can mess up navigation systems, location-based services, all sorts of things.
Oh, and caller ID spoofing. That's a big one.
Oh, yeah. You get that call that looks like it's local, but it's not. They use it a lot in phishing attacks.
Right. To make you think it's your bank or something.
Exactly.
So spoofing can be used in so many ways.
It can. It's incredibly versatile, unfortunately.
It seems like anyone with the know-how could do this.
And that's the worrying part. The tools for spoofing are getting easier to find, easier to use.
Okay, so we've talked about phishing, we've talked about spoofing. Are they, like, always used together?
They're separate things, but they do often work in tandem.
Like partners in crime.
Haha, that's a good way to put it. Spoofing makes phishing more convincing, more effective.
Like, think about it. An email that claims to be from your bank. It has the spoofed sender address, and the website looks exactly like your bank's site.
You're way more likely to fall for it because everything looks legit.
It's like a good con artist, using a fake ID and a convincing story to fool you. They're not just relying on one trick.
Exactly. Multiple layers of deception. And that's why it's so important to know about both spoofing and phishing.
Well, this has been eye-opening. It makes you wonder how anyone can stay safe online with all these tricks going around. I imagine knowledge is our best defense.
Knowledge is definitely power. The more you know about these attacks, the harder it is to fall victim to them.
So for our listeners who are feeling a little uneasy right now, and I know I am we'll spend the rest of our deep dive talking about specific ways to protect yourselves. Stay with us.
It really is a digital Wild West out there. But, you don't have to be a cybersecurity expert to stay safe.
Right, just knowing the basics can make a big difference.
Hmm.
I'm kind of curious, though, about the human side of all this. Why do people actually fall for these scams?
That's a really good question. You see, it's easy to think cybersecurity is just about tech stuff,
Yeah.
firewalls, passwords, all that. But human psychology plays a huge part.
So our own minds can be the weakest link.
In a way, yeah. Attackers know this. They exploit our emotions, our biases, our, how do you say it, our mental shortcuts.
So give us an example.
Yeah.
How did they manipulate us?
Well, think about those phishing emails that say your account has been compromised.
Oh, yeah. They'll get your heart racing.
They do, right. It triggers that fight or flight response. We panic and we don't stop to think.
So we're so busy trying to fix the problem, we don't even question if it's real.
Exactly. They prey on that fear. And sometimes they appeal to our greed.
Oh, like those "you've won $1 million" emails.
Yeah, those. They promise easy rewards, something for nothing.
And a part of us wants to believe it, even if it seems too good to be true.
Exactly. It taps into that desire for a shortcut, a quick win. Another trick is social pressure. They'll spoof the identity of someone you know.
Like a friend asking for money on Facebook.
Yeah. Or your boss sending an urgent email. We're much more likely to trust messages from people we know.
Makes sense. I've also heard about scams that use, like, authority figures.
Oh, absolutely. They'll impersonate government agencies, banks, even the police.
Oh, wow.
Like the IRS is coming after you, or you have to pay this fine immediately.
Oh, man, those would be scary to get.
They are, because we're conditioned to respect authority, to obey.
It's chilling how well these scammers understand us.
It is. It shows that cybersecurity is not just about technology. It's about knowing how people think, how they react.
So awareness is key.
It is. You have to be skeptical, question everything, especially online. Don't be afraid to ask questions, double-check things. If something feels off, it probably is.
Okay, we've talked tech, we've talked psychology, but let's talk real-world impact.
Yeah.
Have there been any big cases of spoofing and phishing that come to mind?
Oh, tons. These attacks are happening all the time. Remember the 2016 Democratic National Committee email hack?
That was a big one, yeah.
It all started with a spear phishing email. They targeted John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman. The email looked like it was from Google, saying his password was compromised.
So they played on his fear of getting hacked.
They did.
Yeah.
He clicked the link, which took him to a fake Google login page.
Oh, no.
And that's how they got his password, accessed his emails, and, well, you know the rest.
Wow, one email had such a huge impact. It's kind of mind-blowing. Any other examples?
There was that massive ransomware attack in 2017 called WannaCry. It affected so many organizations around the world.
I remember that. Hospitals, businesses, everyone was hit. What happened there?
It spread through phishing emails disguised as invoices or resumes. People would open the attachment and boom, their files were encrypted. They had to pay a ransom to get them back.
That's terrifying.
Wow.
And it spread so quickly. It's like a digital virus almost. What can organizations do to protect themselves from these attacks? It seems like a losing battle.
It's tough, no doubt. But there are things they can do. The first step is awareness, creating a culture of security.
So not just having the latest tech, but educating employees, right?
Exactly. Train them to spot phishing attempts, have strong password rules, use multi-factor authentication, basically make it harder for attackers to succeed.
Like building a human firewall.
Exactly. And don't forget regular security checks, penetration testing. You want to find those weak spots before the bad guys do.
So like a fire drill, but for cyber attacks.
You got it. And perhaps most importantly, have a plan for when things go wrong. An incident response plan.
So if they do get hit, they know how to react, how to minimize the damage.
Yep, like a fire escape plan. You hope you never have to use it, but it's there if you need it. Being prepared makes a huge difference.
This is all really insightful, but it also makes you wonder about the future. What new threats are we going to face? What are you worried about?
Well, cybersecurity is like an arms race, you know? As soon as we come up with a defense, the attackers find a new way to get around it.
So what keeps you up at night? What trends are you seeing?
One thing I'm keeping a close eye on is the use of artificial intelligence in phishing attacks.
AI.
Yeah. Imagine AI-powered tools that can write super convincing phishing emails tailored to each individual.
So not just generic spam anymore, but super personalized attacks.
Exactly. And we're also seeing more attacks targeting mobile devices.
Because everyone's on their phones all the time now.
Right. That text message asking you to verify your account, it might not be what it seems.
We have to be just as careful on our phones as on our computers then.
Absolutely. Another trend is combining social engineering with other tactics.
Like how?
Well, they might use phishing to get into your social media, then use that to spread fake news or launch more attacks.
Oh, so phishing becomes the entry point to something bigger.
Exactly. And then there are deep fakes. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, the videos where they make it look like someone's saying or doing something they never did.
Those. It's all AI generated. And it's getting harder to tell what's real and what's fake.
It's like, do we even trust our own eyes anymore?
It's tough, I know. But we're not powerless. We can fight back by staying informed, by being careful.
So knowledge is power.
Yes. And don't be afraid to ask for help if something seems fishy.
This has been a lot to take in, but really fascinating. Thanks for explaining all this to us.
Happy to help. It's important to have these conversations, you know. The more we talk about it, the better prepared we'll be.
That's a great point. Well, I think it's time we shift gears a bit. We've talked about all the scary stuff.
Right.
I'm curious now. What are some of the weirdest phishing scams you've come across? The ones that made you think, really? Someone fell for that?
Oh man, I've seen some crazy ones. The creativity of these scammers never ceases to amaze me.
I bet. I've always wondered about that Nigerian prince scam. Is that even a real thing? Or is it just like an internet joke?
Oh, it's real, all right. And people still fall for it. It's crazy. I think it plays on that hope of a sudden windfall.
Yeah, we all dream of winning the lottery, right?
Right. And this is like the digital version of that. Someone offering you a share of their fortune. It's too tempting for some people to resist.
I guess so. What other crazy scams have you seen?
Well, there was this one targeting pet owners.
No, not pets.
Yeah, it was pretty heartless. They'd send emails saying your lost pet had been found.
Oh, that's awful. Playing on people's worry
Yeah.
for their animals.
Exactly. They'd include a link, you know, so you could see a picture of your pet and arrange to get them back.
And of course, the link is a trap.
Of course. It either led to a fake website or downloaded malware onto your computer.
It's amazing what people will exploit. It's not just about money. It's about playing with people's emotions.
It is. It's really sad. Oh, and there was this other one targeting, well, lonely hearts.
Lowly hearts?
Yeah. They'd send phishing emails pretending to be from a dating website,
Oh, wow.
saying you had a secret admirer.
Someone was dying to meet you.
Exactly. And of course, they'd include a link to see this admirer's profile. But it was all fake, a way to steal your information.
So they're using hope, loneliness. They're not holding back.
No emotion is off limits. It just goes to show you have to be careful with any message you get, no matter how tempting it seems.
So what you're saying is, don't trust anyone.
Haha, well, not exactly. But be skeptical. Don't just click on links. Think before you act.
Be our own digital detectives.
You got it. Look for clues, question everything. And if something feels wrong, trust your gut.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. From the technical details of spoofing and phishing to the psychological tricks and even some wild real-life examples. It's been a fascinating journey. What are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember as we wrap up this deep dive?
I'd say the biggest one is awareness. The more you know about these scams, how they work, the better you can protect yourself. And remember, it's not just about tech. It's about being aware of your own emotions, your vulnerabilities. Don't let fear or excitement cloud your judgment.
That's a really good point.
And don't be afraid to ask for help if you're not sure about something. There are lots of resources out there.
Excellent advice. It's been great having you on the show today. Thanks for sharing all this with us.
My pleasure. The more we talk about these issues, the safer we'll all be.
Well said. And to our listeners, we hope you found this deep dive informative and maybe a little bit empowering. Remember, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe online. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.